Hello everyone, another day, another news update from Moscow, Russia. Today is 23rd of December, now it's 10 to 9 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is first update in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Later on today, I will publish second news update on my Patreon and Boosty pages with their additional main news that Russian media will report during their day. And if you are looking for more news from Russia, more commentary, or if you like my work and want to support this project in the longer terms, then you're more than welcome to join our communities on Patreon and Boost. The links are on this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. That's being said, let's go through some news now. And first of all, short summary of the situation on battlefield in the zone of special military operation and the counter-terrorist operation. And I will start with a recent relevant topic, which is that if you remember, about a week ago, Viktor Orban, after meeting with Trump in US, come up with initiative, contacted the Russian side, the Ukrainian side, and come up with initiative about Christmas truce, Christmas ceasefire and the exchange of POWs. And according to press spokesman of the Russian president, Dmitry Peskov, Moscow was ready to discuss these topics. But Kiev regime was very quick to basically dismiss this initiative of Viktor Orban, and Zelensky and his associates were quite aggressive and insulting even towards Orban and Hungary in general in their commentary. We all remember that, isn't it? I reported about it. And many people were probably asking questions, what's going on here? Zelensky and his associates should be happy to have a little break, especially now when Russian armed forces advancing all along the front line. And so why Zelensky is refusing ceasefire that he can use, theoretically speaking, to regroup its forces in a more or less safe manner and to better prepare defensive positions. And maybe I have an answer on that question. I will try at least. And well, now we are receiving reports, dear friends, that Kiev regime conducted a local scale offensive operation in Kamenskaya area and establish control over the little part of this settlement that used to be controlled by Russian troops just recently. We are talking about just a few dozen of military personnel that Kiev regime sent in this direction. But if you remember, about a week ago, there was also reports in media that Kiev regime's forces, also several dozen of troops, tried to cross Kakhovka water reservoir unsuccessfully, but there was an attempt. And a couple of weeks ago, Vladimir Rogov, expert of from Zaporozhye region, also stated that Kiev regime's formation suddenly started demining their own minefields, which is a strange and can be seen as an indicator that Kiev regime plans to conduct some sort of local or sectoral scale offensive operation in Zaporozhye sector. Also, it's worth notice that a couple of days ago, some pictures start circulating on internet with their new grouping of forces of Kiev regime with their square designating sign, right? And as you know, Kiev regime's invading forces in Kursk, Kiev regime's and NATO mercenaries forces in Kursk salient area have a triangle designation mark, right? And rumors start circulate straight away that predictions that maybe Kiev regime with the assistance of NATO are planning to conduct an invasion of the Bryansk region of the Russian Federation or potentially even Belarus, because this new grouping of forces with a square designating sign were seen in a Chernigov region, right, which borders Belarus and the Bryansk region of the RF. Although later on, some groups of forces of Kiev regime with a square designating sign were seen in a DPR area, and now we are receiving reports about activization of Kiev regime troops in Zaporozhye sector of the front line, and maybe, just maybe, Kiev regime refused to accept this initiative from Viktor Orban because potentially Zelensky's regime and NATO are planning yet another potentially sectoral scale offensive operation somewhere along the line of contact. Maybe it's going to be invasion in one of the Russian borderline regions, Bryansk, for example, or Belgorod. Maybe Kiev regime and NATO plans to organize invasion of Belarus, or maybe we will see significant activization of Kiev regime troops in Zaporozhye sector of the front line, even attempts to cross Kakhovka water reservoir to establish control over the Energodar city and Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. Anything is possible, and we should not be surprised if in next week or two we will see exactly that. Yet another suicidal counteroffensive, sectoral scale counteroffensive of the Kiev regime, when another thousands or potentially tens of thousands of troops of Kiev regime will be sacrificed, right? So, let's see how the situation develop. But when I was analyzing situation on line of contact, I came up with this reading of the big picture, and I wanted to share these thoughts with you. When it comes to other sectors of the front line, we have reports about further progress of the Russian armed forces in South Donetsk sector of the front line. And for example, many sources are confirming now report that Russian armed forces established control over the Starozhevoye settlement on the southern side of Velikaya Novoselovka. I guess in a couple of days' time, Russian troops will begin offensive in Niskuchna area. Russian DRGs probably already are operating here. Also, Russian armed forces establish control over the Sontsovka settlement on the northern western side of Kakhovka, Kurakhova water reservoir. When it comes to Kurakhova itself, well, battles for Kurakhova continues. Kiev regime's formations still are trying to maintain their presence in industrial area of Kurakhova. Also, Russian troops advancing on the southern flank of Kupiansk sector of the front line, and we have reported that Russian forces established control of the Lazovaya settlement. This is the settlement here, and Russian troops are getting closer and closer to Oskol River in this direction. And when it comes to zone of counter-terrorist operations, we have reports about significant progress of the Russian armed forces in Kruglenka area, and there also reports are that Russian armed forces established full control over the Kurilovka settlement, and clearing operation is underway right now. So this Kursk salient area, which is still temporarily occupied by Kiev regime's formations, is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking on daily basis. And still, by the way, when it comes to Kursk salient area, this famously invisible North Korean troops nowhere to be seen. Kiev regime is sharing some crazy fake footage with the alleged North Korean troops, but in reality, me personally did not see even a single evidence that confirms presence of North Korean troops in the Kursk salient area and their participation into the battles. Although, by the way, you know my take on the situation. I would not be against if North Korea will send million troops to assist Russia. Why not? That would be great, right? But I just don't see it coming. I was skeptical always about potential participation of the North Korean troops in battles, and I'm still skeptical, by the way. Although if I see concrete evidences that, well, they are participating, then okay, I will obviously acknowledge that. But until now, no evidences that can prove it. And I remind you, dear friends, that exactly this topic of presence of this invisible North Korean troops in a zone of counter-terrorist operation was used by Washington as a justification to authorize long-range strikes deep into Russian territory. They created a false narrative, and then based on this false narrative, they start building their policies. And that's what they do, by the way, often, quite often, right? Western ruling class, I mean. Anyways, of course, initiative is in Russian hands, by the way, all along the front line, and there is no universe anywhere, not just this one, but any other, where Kiev regime will be able to regain initiative and to achieve any success, any real success on the battlefield, right? They are good in some media campaigns, some PR actions, but when it comes to real battle, there's no way Kiev regime's formations or NATO mercenaries gonna achieve any significant success. It's just not possible. Let's continue with some other news now, and TASS news agency is reporting that, the Russian Defense Ministry, as I already said, confirmed information about liberation of Lazovaya settlement in the Kharkov region. This is southern flank of Kupiansk sector, of course, and also Russian troops liberated Krasnaya in DPR. Defense Ministry is confirming this news. Also, dear friends, as you know, a couple of days ago, Kiev regime shelled heavily with their US-made HIMARS MLRS systems Rilsk city, Rilsk town in Kursk salient, in the Kursk region, by the way, and we have this additional, report on that 17 different cultural and architectural wonders, am I using words correctly, were damaged during this attack. Let me translate. Sites, by the way. 17 cultural and architectural sites were damaged during this large-scale shelling of the Kursk salient area, including 3 churches, by the way. Including 3 churches. I wanted to share with you this news because it does highlights what kind of individuals those criminals are, basically, right? Let's translate a little more and go through this news. So 17 cultural heritage sites in Rilsk, Kursk region were damaged as a result of a missile strike by the armed forces of Ukraine. Acting governor of the region, Alexander Hinstein, said in his Telegram channel, the Nazi regime is trying to destroy not only civilians, but also our historical and spiritual memory. As a result of rocket attacks on Rilsk, 17 cultural heritage sites received different degrees of damage. This became clear following the results of yesterday's detour of the city by the relevant commission, he wrote. According to Hinstein, 3 Orthodox churches were damaged, including Church of the a translation is not correct, I guess. В том числе церковь Успения 1811, which was built in 1811, an architectural monument of federal significance, which was previously restored for 30 years. A lot of things now have to start over along the perimeter of the building. Windows and glass ceilings were broken out. The doors of the central and southern entrance were damaged, and the dome was damaged also, he wrote. So yes, I mean, that's what Kiev regime does, by the way. They are terrorists, I said it many times, and they prove it every single day. They prove that I'm correct every single day with their actions. They intentionally shelled their 3 churches. It says it all, isn't it? RT is reporting, meanwhile, that President of Russian Federation vows retaliation for Ukrainian drone strike. He was talking about a drone strike that happened on Kazan. So Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned that the organizers of the Saturday's drone attack on the city of Kazan will face a harsh retaliatory response. Whoever and no matter how hard they try to destroy something in Russia, they will face many times greater destruction in their own country for it, and will also regret what they are trying to do in our country, he said Sunday, addressing Tatarstan's leader Rustam Minikhanov. Putin expressed confidence that the republic will manage to recover from their attack on its capital, Kazan. I am certain that the regional authorities will restore everything that was damaged by our enemies and their adversaries, he said, speaking at the video conference on launching a new transport infrastructure projects. Of course, everything will be restored, by the way, no doubts about that. And I guess Russia will take some actions also to retaliate for this attack. Only question I have: what Russian president meant under organizers? I mean, he said that organizers of Saturday's drone attack on the city of Kazan will face a harsh retaliation. Who he thinks organizers are? In my personal opinion, organizers are Western ruling elites, right? Kiev regime is just acting on the orders, right? So we will find out soon. We will find out soon what Russian president meant and what kind of retaliatory steps will be taken by Russian forces. But there will be some retaliation, no doubts about that. And there also, dear friends, if you remember yesterday in the first update that was, isn't it? I reported that President of Serbia, Vučić, stated that Prime Minister of Slovakia will visit Russia, and he was absolutely correct. Yesterday, later evening, news broke that Prime Minister of Slovakia actually came to Russia, to Moscow, and had a meeting with the Russian President Vladimir Putin. You can see on your screen now, I mean, video of this meeting. I guess both sides, President of Russia and Prime Minister of Slovakia, had quite a number of topics that they discussed. First of all, bilateral relationships between Russia and Slovakia, cooperation in energo field and other sectors, and also, of course, Ukrainian crisis probably was a topic of discussion. Of course, we're not gonna receive detailed information, I guess, about what exactly was discussed during this meeting, but well, great to see Prime Minister of Slovakia in Moscow. And by the way, he recently, a few times at least, stated that he will visit Moscow on a celebration of victory over Nazi Germany. So we should expect Prime Minister Fico to visit Russia on 9th of May also. And before I continue, let me notice, dear friends, that this project is completely subscriber funded. And if you like my work, if you like my channels, or if you think my channels have some potential and we deserve to exist in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support this project and my work with small donations through PayPal platform or Boosty platform. This is a Boosty platform, by the way, that can be used for donations also. And I have a page here with additional content, so you can subscribe to this page also. And of course, you can subscribe to my Patreon page, which is much more developed, because I start working on a Patreon way before on a Boosty. And I also have crypto wallet. All the addresses, all the links are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. And let's continue now with some more news. Glad newspaper is reporting that, well, even though US officials stated yesterday, military officials, that friendly fire, as a result of friendly fire accident, one of the US destroyers intercepted the naval FA-18 in Red Sea. That was right. That happened. Houthis later on, Yemeni Houthi rebels, stated that it's them that actually intercepted this FA-18 plane. And yesterday, by the way, we had a greater community chat during the live stream on YouTube, and I'm grateful to all the members of our community who participate in the live stream and who watched that video later on in the recording. And we had a great conversation, including about these topics, and many members of our community expressed opinion that, well, if Houthis intercepted actually FA-18, US Navy most likely will say that it was a friendly fire, because it is a kind of, bad look, isn't it, for US that despite all the attempts to destroy Houthi rebels, they still are capable of bringing down US military assets. And the Houthis are, by the way, well capable force, including when it comes to air defense, because there was many, US drones that were brought down by Houthis, isn't it? And this is, if report about Houthis being involved in this interception is correct, then this is, I guess, first time when Houthi rebels intercepted the plane. Although, yet again, hard to know. It's all up to individual decision-making process of us. Who would we believe? U.S. Navy, who said that it was a friendly fire, or Houthi rebels, who say that it's them that intercepted the plane? Me personally, I have no strong opinion, because both can be true, right? Friendly fire accidents unfortunately happened, and Houthi rebels also are quite capable of intercepting aerial targets. They prove it quite a number of times, isn't it? So I don't really have a strong opinion on the matter, but that's the news, by the way, that Houthis are claiming interception of that plane. Also, RT is reporting that Poland threatens to arrest Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, at Auschwitz. So Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu would be arrested if he attends next month's ceremonies marking the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz concentration camps in Poland. The EU country's Deputy Foreign Minister Władysław Bortozewski told newspaper Rzeczpospolita on Friday. I'm a bit surprised, by the way, because earlier Berlin, London, Paris stated that they will make an exception for Netanyahu and they would not obey orders of ICC if he will visit these countries. I believe these capitals say that, isn't it? Germany, France, and London. They're not going to arrest Netanyahu, and that's why I was a bit surprised that Polish leadership said they will arrest him, especially if you take into account how dependent Polish elites are on London, right? Historically speaking, not just now, but historically, for the last 200-300 years, when Polish elites are almost always servants of their British elites, right? And how they are going against their political line of London now, that they can arrest Netanyahu. I don't know, but I don't think Netanyahu will risk it anyways, although who knows? One call from London to Warsaw and their Polish leadership will change their positions immediately. And one should also notice, when it comes to celebration of 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, that this Auschwitz concentration camps, Auschwitz, Birkenau, and all the others were liberated by Soviet forces, right? And Russia wouldn't be presented there during those celebrations. So You tell me, is if that is justified, that country that is prava preemnica, how you say prava preemnica? Country that is successor of the Soviet Union would not be presented during that celebration. I don't know. Anyways, let's continue. Also, RT is reporting, and I wrote about this on my Telegram yesterday. British Army is struggling for recruits, according to Telegraph. Soldiers are quitting by the thousands despite a 6% pay rise, the paper reports. So over 15,000 British soldiers left the armed forces in November 2023 through October 2024, the Telegraph reported on Saturday. The resignations continue to come despite their government's attempts to stem their recruitment crisis with a record pay rise. The newspaper noted that more than half of the 15,000 people who left the country's military forces during their specified time frame had resigned voluntarily. However, during their same period, they reportedly recruited some 12,000 personnel, resulting in a net shrinking of their military. And by the way, when it comes to NATO armed forces, not just UK, but many other NATO member states, I think only way they can address this issue with a lack of recruits for armed forces, they will resolve this issue by reintroducing conscription, mandatory conscription. Just mark my word, by the way, I was probably one of the first who start predicting many months before that most likely NATO member states will resolve to mandatory conscription, and definitely things are moving that way. And maybe even in 2025 or 2026, but we will see countries, NATO member states, one after another, reintroducing mandatory conscription under whatever pretext. But this is the only way they can deal with the lack of manpower, right? Because US militaries, British militaries, other militaries of the NATO member states, they've been used as some sort of private military companies, isn't it? And obviously people that want to serve country, want to serve society, those people would not be okay being a part of military that is used as some sort of private military company for some rich individuals or multinational corporations. And that's exactly what is happening, especially with US and British militaries, isn't it? French militaries. So that's why they are experiencing, mainly in my personal opinion, shortage in manpower, because patriots want to serve country. They don't want to be a tool for multinational corporations, right? Otherwise they would join private military companies straight away. So therefore, I'm telling you, and only way these NATO member states would be able to resolve this issue of lack of manpower is reintroduction of mandatory conscription. And there are, some steps already being done in this direction in many countries, by the way, after NATO, including in UK. Ground is definitely prepared for such development. RIA Novosti is also reporting that, Trump, by the way, Trump is on fire, isn't it? He is not just threatening left and right, just about everybody, but he is also demonstrating some incredible ambitions, territorial ambitions, right? That US under his leadership might have. Yesterday I reported about statements of Trump that if Panama will not cut tariffs for ships that are passing through Panama Channel, then US may reclaim that channel. And now we have this report that Trump once again is talking about necessity for the US to be in charge of Greenland. Greenland, by the way. And this is not something new. During his first term in office, he also spoke about Greenland quite often, right? He even proposed to buy Greenland from Denmark. And formally, by the way, formally Greenland is a part of Denmark, right? This huge, huge island, by the way, is a part of this tiny, tiny Denmark, right? And yes, I don't know what will happen. I don't know what will happen, but seems like forces that are behind the Trump probably are very serious when it comes to these territorial gains for US. And one day, US may, receive some additional rights when it comes to Greenland. I don't think they're gonna really buy Greenland from Denmark or occupy Greenland. No, but probably the Danish government will allow US to do basically whatever they want on that island. That's about it, including exploration of the reaches of the island. Georgia next. Georgia, by the way, is still on the crossroad, a former Soviet republic in Southern Caucasus region. And we have this report from TASS news agency that current president of Georgia, Salome Zurabishvili, whose mandate is expired, by the way, as far as I understand, on 16th of or 19th of December, but she will maintain, she will stay in office until inauguration of the new president, which will happen on 29th of December. So Zurabishvili is calling now for new parliamentary elections, and he is issuing ultimatum to Georgian government and the ruling party to work with her, to appoint her, to choose the date for new elections before 29th of December, before new president should take office, right? And new president of Georgia will be Mikhail Kavalashvili. He was already elected by electoral college in Georgia, by parliament basically. So Georgian President Salome Zurabishvili has demanded that the ruling Georgian Dream Democratic Georgia Party agree on their date of calling early parliamentary elections until December 29, when her powers expire. This is reported by TASS news agency. And on 26 parliamentary elections in Georgia was just now on 26th of October. Western controlled opposition lost those elections. Georgian Dream ruling party gained majority, and the Western ruling class is not happy about it, and they are using their assets, including Salome Zurabishvili, this so-called president of Georgia, to destabilize situation and to conduct regime change. They are failing, by the way. Until now, all the attempts to destabilize country and conduct regime change failed, although they are not stopping. Every single day they are trying to destabilize Georgia, and I'm afraid they will continue to do so if leadership of Georgia, including leadership of security services will not start making some strong decisions, difficult but necessary decisions to neutralize Western assets, to neutralize foreign assets, basically, that are destabilizing country, right? All the foreign assets should be neutralized in every country, by the way. In Russia, should be neutralized all foreign assets, right? In Georgia, should be neutralized all foreign assets. It just happened that way, that in Georgia, foreign assets that are destabilizing country are working for the West, right? And the very same West is trying to use its assets to destabilize Russia or to create some disturbances, right? So I don't know. I don't know what is going to happen in Georgia, but Prime Minister of the country, Irakli Kobakhidze, is saying that this so-called president of Georgia might be even arrested. She may end up under criminal charges if she continue on this current path of destabilizing country. So Georgian Prime Minister Irakli Kobakhidze said at the briefing that President Salome Zurabishvili will be held criminally accountable, basically, if she calls new parliamentary elections or does not leave her residence after the inauguration of the new head of the state on December 29th. So yes, as I said, dear friends, Georgia is still on a crossroads, and these Western assets are not giving up on hopes that they will manage to destabilize country and conduct regime change, which will be total devastation for Georgia, by the way. I'm not sure Georgia would be able to survive yet another this so-called color revolution that West is organizing. I mean, Georgia barely survived previous color revolution, after which criminal Saakashvili was, become head of the state. And I doubt that Georgia will manage to survive another such event. So therefore, hopefully Georgian society will stand united and strong, and the Georgian current leadership will do whatever is necessary to neutralize threats to society and the country. RIA Novosti, meanwhile, is reporting that Belgrade responded to demands from the West to impose sanctions on Russia and the number of Chinese companies. And Deputy Prime Minister of Serbia, Aleksandar Vučić, stated that despite all this pressure from the West, Belgrade will maintain its independence and sovereignty, and will continue to maintain current political course based on national interests of Serbia, which is only correct approach, I guess, because why? I mean, how it even possible that some criminals in Brussels think that they are in a position to dictate Belgrade what to do, how, when, and so on? What the hell, man? So Belgrade is standing strong, and hopefully they will continue on this path. There is a great opening, by the way, greater opening that is on horizon right now. One day, Hungary, Serbia, Slovakia, potentially Montenegro, by the way, or Chernogoria, even Croatia, it is possibility that Croatia even may join this group, and Italy also. Nothing to be said about Greece, for example, where one day patriots may really might manage to reclaim their country. It is possibility that all these countries, by the way, in Central and Southern Europe will establish good, in some cases, this good partnership already in place. In some cases, some more work needs to be done, obviously due to difficult past. But it is possible that these countries will manage to cooperate between each other. First of all, of course, in terms of economical terms, and then as a group, by the way, to cooperate with the BRICS. And of course, this will be immensely profitable, not just for BRICS, but for these countries, by the way, of Central and Southern Europe, right? So there is a great opening, and Serbia if Serbia will stay strong and withstand this pressure from the Brussels or from the Western ruling class, definitely can be one of their key players in this new potential union, economical alliance that can be created in Europe, primarily for bilateral cooperation, of course, but also to cooperate big way with the BRICS. So there is potential there, huge potential. So Serbia should stay strong, man, and I hope they will. Dutch news agency is also reporting that according to Foreign Minister of Hungary, Peter Szijjártó, Hungary is receiving again oil through Druzhba pipeline that was relatively recently damaged as a result of the actions of the Kiev regime, right? Although, by the way, Brussels bureaucrats may order Kiev to do some provocation again and to damage and destroy Druzhba pipeline or a gas pipeline that still operates and delivers gas from Russia to Europe at any day. They can do it any day, by the way. So yes, for now, Druzhba pipeline is fully operational, seems like, but danger is still there and will be there until this terrorist regime exists in Kiev. And finally, dear friends, I will end this update on this news that EU risks losing gas supplies from Qatar. Energy minister, local energy minister, has stated. So Qatar will stop gas shipments to EU if member states enforce new legislation on the carbon emissions. The Gulf nation's energy minister Saad Al-Kaabi has told the Financial Times. Qatar has become an important supplier to the bloc after Brussels resolved to wean itself off Russian gas following their escalation of the Ukrainian conflict in 2022. If any EU country imposes penalties on Qatar under the bloc's corporate sustainability due to diligence directive, Doha would stop exporting its liquefied natural gas to the bloc, to the EU. Al-Kaabi told their outlet on Sunday. Qatar Energy, the state-owned energy company, has long-term LNG contracts with several EU countries, including Germany, France, Italy, and Netherlands. So, yes, but EU, these crazy so-called politicians in Brussels, by the way, this EU so-called leadership may actually destroy relationships with Qatar also, and make life for European economies even more difficult, right? They already successfully destroyed relationships with Russia, and basically put local economies in Europe under great danger, right? And we already observing the industrialization of the Europe as a result of that. And now seems like Brussels is going to destroy relationships with Qatar, or at least there is a risks of that. And that's why I guess energy minister in Doha said that, you know what, if you start messing around, then we will just stop supplying, and that's it. That's going to be total devastation for European economies, by the way, that's for sure, because I don't think without Russian and Qataris gas, EU economies may even survive. There would be not even theoretical chance. US don't have so much LNG to compensate for such a loss of energy, right? And so I will end this update on this news, dear friends. Let's see what Brussels is going to do. But me personally, I don't expect any adequate policies from Brussels, because bureaucrats there already demonstrated many times that they are out of touch with reality in the big time, you know. So this is it for this first update. Hopefully you will find it informative, interesting, and useful. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary. This is the only way we can try at least and influence algorithm. Sometimes we are successful and we are managing to influence algorithm. More often, not really, but at least we can try. So please, if you can, click that like button, leave some commentary just about anything. And if you can, share information about my channel or share my videos with your friends on internet or in real life. And finally, if you like my work, if you want to support, you can do it. All the links are on this video in description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a wonderful day and take care.